And beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay. I want to talk about transition phrases today, going from um, how do I put this? Y'all ever been in the Y and you didn't like in the appointment? Okay, you're in the appointment. You've already done all the heavy lifting. You got their finances on the table, right? They've already written it down. And we just don't know, Preston, when's enough? I think that's one of the hardest things in sales, especially this sale, is like, how far do we go? And it's a line that we got to dance with, ain't it, Tyler? And I remember, Tyler, I remember it was probably a year ago where you were just beating the shit out of people. My God. You want to tell people what it sounds like to beat the hell out of somebody, Tyler, not with your questions. You want to, give people an idea there?
Yeah, you got to dig into the why, but I was hammering it. I mean, we were in the why for a hot minute. I mean, I was layers deep. I mean, to the point where I felt like, looking back, that I was putting these people, especially when it comes to the critical period coverage, like I was putting these people in such a deep and dark hole. Like there was no way that 6 months of mortgage payments was gonna help and solve anything because of how bad I painted a picture. And I think, yeah, it was they were in a corner. I mean, it was bad. I thought I was doing the right thing, but it really took me. I talked about this yesterday. Kind of watching people run appointments on virtual office, just seeing kind of how simple their process was. That I just needed to kind of take a step back on things and allow them to buy it, whereas I was pushing them away because I was trying to force the sale, and so yeah, I was going way too deep. That's kind of how I explain it. I couldn't tell
Just
you exactly.
way too deep,
I mean,
And what it is it's like a lack of, I don't want to say trust. It might be trust, it might be faith. I don't, it's one of those two. Might be a hybrid of both, but it's just we want to have certainty that they're going to buy it, and you're not going to get that certainty. It ain't coming. Okay? Like there's no way to know whenever you're calling booking appointments which one is your aces. How many top producers on the call? Throw a five in the chat if you are a top producer. Like you've gotten the title, it's in your HQ. I'm a top producer. That's top producer as well. Okay, there's three of us. Aaron ain't on today. Everybody text Aaron, ask him where he is. Okay, because I know he's a top producer multiple times. He's a stud. Damn right, Jasmine. Um, but how many times, Preston, have you walked into a week with 15 to 20 appointments? And you said, and you like had them circled almost in your mind. You're like, that one's gonna buy, that one's gonna buy, that one had a good why, that one definitely. This one talked to me for 35 minutes, so they're definitely gonna buy. Karen loved to talk. God dog, she talked my head off. Almost couldn't book enough appointments just because of that, right? Oh, don't text Aaron. Sorry, don't text Aaron. Pray for Aaron. Let's do that. Let's pray for Aaron instead. Thank you for Rosanna for letting me know that. I ain't got that text message here quite yet. It's rough. Um, Damn, I lost my whole train of thought, Rosanna. I was like, you talk about a pattern interrupt. Jesus Christ, that was nice. Okay. Um, okay, gotcha. His wife let you know. Gotcha. Um, but then we had those week appointments too, Tyler, where we had the asterisks. And we were like trying to double, triple, quadruple book them because we knew they won't buy them. We just needed to feel good. Y'all ever booked an appointment just because you needed to feel good? Like you're getting hammered on the phone, Eric. You're 0 for 10, and you're just like, I just got to see one on the calendar, right? Yeah. So hey, William. Hey, this is Luke, buddy. I'll call you at 8 o'clock on Monday. That's about what it sounds like. They ain't gonna show up. You know they ain't gonna show up, and they don't, right? And then we get to Monday, Tuesday, and all the ones that didn't sound like they were gonna buy bought more than they probably needed. And all the ones that swore up and down they were buying, they had their checkbook out, they already had called their accountant, their CPA, everything. They ain't even showed. Okay. Or, hey, we talked to our financial advisor and we don't need this. Whatever. Right? A bunch of bullshit. Excuse my French. I'm just going to go at it today. Okay. We don't know who's going to buy and who's not going to buy, do we? All right. So I want you to go ahead and relieve yourself of the stress of trying to know who's going to buy and who's not. All I want you to do is get bullet freaking proof on your process. It doesn't mean you ask the same questions every time. It's not what I'm saying. Okay. Maybe in the beginning you do, right? But Tyler, when's the last time you were actually thinking in an appointment? And it's probably about a year ago. But when was the last time you were in an appointment and you actually worried, like, I wonder if they're going to buy this or not?
Yeah. No, you can't control that because that was a big pitfall for me. Like I said, I believe I talked about it yesterday. Trying to control the outcome. You cannot like it's crazy. Like some of the people that buy the most insurance, they don't even like necessarily need it if you look at it on paper. They just want it. And that was like a big thing for me because at the end of the day, like I feel like it's my duty to help these people put something in place so if they do pass away, their wife or their husband isn't left in an awful situation. Like, but you can't you can do all you can do, but you can't make them buy it. Like at the end of the day, you can't make them buy it, and you got to surrender the outcome because that was like it would hurt me so bad. It would hurt me so bad because I am. It's not that I'm competitive. It's that I do. I have a heart and I care about these people, and I would bring it into my next appointment, and they can feel that, right? You just got to surrender that outcome. Not everybody's going to buy it. You got to do all that you can do, but you also can't force that situation. Because I would go into the why, and then I would transition over into my think about it, or I would transition into talking about the different options, full payoff, partial payoff, critical period. They would tell me that they need the critical period coverage, and I would go back into pulling the Y out before showing the options, like just beating it, instead of transitioning from, okay, they said that critical period makes the most sense, perfect. And then we need to transition into options. Um, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It comes down to control versus influence. I saw a video that Delaney did on that years and years and years ago. Mike, I don't know if you got that in the archive somewhere, but I don't know where I found it, brother, but it was just fantastic. And he's like, here's the reality is that most of the time we're trying to influence ourselves. We're trying to get out of bed on time, but we're trying to force them to buy it. We're trying to sit in a chair long enough to get to 15 appointments, but we're definitely going to make, we want to become a master at sales so we can make them buy it. And that's not going to work. How about we make ourselves sit in the chair longer and we try to help them buy it? Not make them buy it, help them buy it. Okay? It's just like we can influence them, but we got to control ourselves. We can't try to influence ourselves and control them. It's just bass backwards, as we like to say around here in the Southeast. Okay? So let's talk about getting out of the why, right? Preston, have you ever heard that digging into the why is kind of like like there's layers to it? Like you dig a little bit, you come out, you dig a little bit deeper, you come out, and then you dig all the way in. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, 100%. And you ask until, we start on the surface level and we just, take another layer. Like we heard talk about peeling an onion, right? And we just keep peeling it back slowly until we get to that point where it's so obvious, not to you, but to them as well, that there's a problem here that they need to take care of.
Yeah. Um, what are some good questions? Tyler, how do you transition from hey, yeah, I don't know what we would do. It would be hard. Yeah, I don't think we could do it. It would be emotionally devastating. It would be the worst case scenario ever. We would literally lose everything, whatever the hell they say in the why. How do you transition out of that into your options?
Well, first I'm trying to get like paint some sort of picture. I have an idea in my head once we get in, like if we're talking about critical period coverage, that's what 80% of our business is. I always want to have an understanding of what the options look like so I can present them with like my cheapest options always somewhere around 80 to $100. I don't care how much money they make. So I always want to have an understanding of what my options are. That way, if 6 months of coverage is around 80 to $100, that's kind of going to be something that I talk about between 6 months and a year, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So once we're pulling the Y out there, like, oh, we couldn't do it. There's no way we would have to move. Okay, where would you go? Well, I would do everything in my power to stay here, but I don't think I could do it without some help. Okay, when you say some help, what do you mean there? Oh, I would probably have to go get another job. Okay, you haven't worked in how long? I haven't worked in 12 years. Okay, how long do you feel like it would take you to like get another job? Well, I mean, I could probably do it, but it would take me a little while. Okay. Okay. It would take you a while. Okay. So I guess for you, like if you weren't able to get a job within 6 months, then what would you have to do? I would have to sell the home. Hmm. Okay. So then I just I kind of got on a rant there. I kind of went to going in my whole appointment. But yeah, if once I'm going from the why, once I'm going from the why into I always go into the why, and then I've got to have some sort of green light that makes me think that they need something to give them that critical period coverage. One of my favorite questions to ask is, do you guys feel like this is an absolute dire necessity, or do you feel like this is just more so of a cushion?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So, guys, there's three different ways we can go about this. The full mortgage payoff. If it's critical period, I don't even talk partial payoff. I just say there's full mortgage payoff. It's what everybody thinks that they need when we originally sit down. But to be honest with you, the majority of families that I sit with, they never go that route. It just doesn't make sense for a couple different reasons. Number one, it's usually more insurance than a family needs. So, if we were to take out a plan today for $230,000, when you go to make your next month's mortgage payment, you no longer owe $231,000 on that home. And if you get a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, etc., right? So if you were to take out a $231,000 plan today, you're always going to have $231,000 of coverage. But what you owe on the home is going to continue to go down. So that's why most families don't go that route, because it's usually, like I said, more insurance than a family needs. And also, from what you guys told me earlier, Susan, you told me that this home was way too big. Like there was no way, there was too much upkeep, that there was no way that you could stay in this home long term to keep up with it, that you were going to end up selling the home and pulling the equity out and downsizing. So it wouldn't make sense to pay the home off anyway. And the second reason why most people don't go with that option is because it usually doesn't make sense when it comes to like the budget. And I think you guys, I can tell you're smart enough to know that you guys have shopped this around long enough. You know as well as I do, if you were to go down to your local State Farm and say, "Hey, Jake from State Farm, I need $231,000 to pay this home off for my wife." Jake from State Farm, he ain't gonna bat an eye. He's going to say, "Yeah, Fred, it ain't no problem. I just need you to do me a favor on the way out the door. I want you to leave me your right arm, your left leg, and half your kidney." Now, am I wrong? And they're usually going to chuckle. If they don't, then we might have messed up somewhere. They're like, "Oh yeah, you got that right, man. I looked at that stuff last. Yeah, yeah, yeah." Doesn't make sense. And my job here for you guys today, okay? We're really just trying to find the smallest dosage that's going to be effective to make sure your wife's taken care of, but also make sure we're looking out for your pocketbook as well, Fred. Because my job's just to leave you with a blessing and not a burden. So, what most of the families do in your guys' situation, I would say, like I told you guys earlier, I sit with about 30 families a month, and there are well over 100 that go with this option here. And this option is what we call the critical period or the equity protection. All right. What this coverage does is it steps in, it takes care of the mortgage payments for you guys for a period of time. It's going to give you guys time to grieve. It's going to give you time to figure things out financially. And it's going to give you guys the freedom to where you get to operate on your terms and not the lending company's terms. Because if Fred was to pass away tomorrow, Miss Susan, the bank doesn't come to you and say, "Hey, Susan, I need $231,000 to pay that home off." They don't ask for that, do they? No, they don't do that. No. Yeah, what are they concerned about? The only thing that they want is that next month's mortgage payment. As long as they get that next month's mortgage payment, they're fine. They're good. But you ain't never heard of the mortgage company saying, "Hey, Susan, look, I know you just lost your husband. I know things are difficult. We're
What's
going
up,
to give
man?
we're going to give you 6 months to where you don't have to worry about making that mortgage payment." You ain't never heard of them doing that. No, heck no. They want their money tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. So that's what that coverage does. That's like I said, that's what most of all the people that I sit with do. It definitely makes the most sense when it comes to giving you guys time to figure things out, and it's definitely makes the most sense when it comes to the budget. For you guys, kind of explain those different options there. What do you feel like makes the most sense? Oh, the last option. That last option definitely makes the most sense. I mean, yeah, that's going to give her plenty of time. They're going to start talking about why it's good for them. And I'm going to just let them freaking talk, let them talk. And I'm trying to listen to things because if they say, so, like I said, I'm trying to guide them between this time period that's going to make sense in their budget. And if they say something that's way outside of the budget, like, "Oh, I need to look," like, "Oh, yeah, 2 years." Okay. 2 years. If that's what the wife says, if the wife says, "I need 2 years," all right, and I'm trying to get somewhere within 6 months to a year and a half because I know that 2 years is going to be $400 a month. one of my questions that I always ask is like I ask the husband when the wife says 2 years, I'm like, okay, and so then I'll come back to the husband. I'm like, now, Fred, how does that make you feel when she says that she needs 2 years? Oh man, I'm gonna do everything in my power to give her 2 years. Okay, now Miss Susan, I know you said that you feel like you need 2 years. If push come to shove, do you feel like you could like maybe get by with less? Perfect. All right. So guys, go over the think about it. All right. Based off of what you guys have told me today, I learned this one from Devin Johnson. Both of you guys have told me that God forbid if Fred passes away, that Miss Susan is going to be left in a financial burden. You guys, there's no way that she could do it without having to go out and get another job. She would have to sell the home the next day. And you guys got a lot of equity built up in that home that we're looking to protect here today to make sure that Miss Susan gets to take the highest offer, not the first offer that comes to hand. So, guys, my job here for you today is definitely done. All right. And there's only two things that I ask of you here for me. Number one, it's the coverage that you guys feel like you need. Now, it may be a little bit different than the coverage that you guys feel like you want, but deep down inside, Fred, you know that that's the coverage that Miss Susan needs if something happens to you. Now, the second thing, this is what's most important, right? The second thing is the coverage that you guys can comfortably afford. Because it's like my mama always told me. She said, "Hey, Tyler, a check is better than no check at all." So if all of these options here, guys, are outside of your budget, I just ask that you please let me know. Is that fair? Yep. Okay. Because every now and then I'll get a think about it, a pray about it, a sleep on it. And really all that means is it's just a price issue. That's why most of my families that I sit with, they always like to start with something small because I can't tell you how many people call me back and add on. And I just had a lady last week. This is a true story. And I tell this every time at the end of my appointment. I had a lady that I sat with. Her name was Miss Brenda. I'll be very real with you guys here. I know this is recorded. Now, sometimes if it's a husband and a wife, I'm going to say she had a husband. All right. But this lady actually had a daughter. But I'm trying to relate to these people. So if it's a husband and wife, I'm going to say I sat down with Miss Brenda and she just wanted to make sure that her husband was taken care of. We sat down on a Monday night at 7:30. And she said, "Tyler, I know we need this. I know that we need to do this, but me and him, we just need to take a couple days to talk about this to figure out which one that we want to go with." And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. So I said, "You know what? Yeah, I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Ain't no problem." We rescheduled for Thursday night at 7:30. And Thursday night at 7:30, I went to call her back. She didn't answer, and I didn't think anything of it until she called me back Friday night as I was literally walking out the door here and said, "Tyler, I'm so sorry that I didn't call you back. I just want to let you know that I woke up Thursday morning having chest pains and I went to the hospital and I stayed overnight." And when we got back in touch on Monday, do you know that the same coverage that I could have got her a week ago would have been almost half the price, but because she had went to the hospital and stayed overnight, that coverage doubled. So, guys, if there's anything I can encourage you, both of you guys said that this is definitely something that you guys need. If we need to start with something small, okay, if all of these options here are different or too much for you, okay, just be honest with me. We can always go back to the drawing board. Is that fair? All right. And then I go explaining the options. Well, 6 months, a year and a half. But you got to be very clear on the options, right? Aaron hammered me. Like this was a big turning point for me because I was very unclear when it came to the options. I'd be like, "All right, year and a half, year, 6 months. You got a pen and paper there?" Okay. 300, 150, and 89. Which one makes the most sense? No. Mm-mm. So when I'm explaining options, it's all right. So, guys, the first option here is going to be for a year and a half of mortgage payments. What this coverage is going to do is it's going to step in, it's going to make sure that Miss Susan is covered for a full year and a half. So, Fred, if you pass away, she doesn't have to come out of pocket to make any mortgage payments for a year and a half. All right. The second option, that's going to step in, that's going to take care of the mortgage payments for a full year. Then the last option, that's going to step in. It's going to give Miss Susan plenty of time to take care of the mortgage payments for 6 whole months. So she doesn't have to come out of pocket for those mortgage payments for 6 whole months. Does that make sense? All right. Any questions that you guys have surrounding those three options? You got to clear the air before you show the numbers. If there's any questions, I'm gonna answer them right then. And then when I show the options, I give them the three prices. Say, "All righty, guys. So out of those three options there, which one do you feel like makes the most sense, or do we need to go back to the drawing board?" And we can look at more, we can look at less, we can look at in between. You guys just let me know how to help you there. That's what I do.
Simple. Simple. Yeah, simple. What are some keys you heard there, Preston? He just got in a flow. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like he's done that before. He wasn't thinking at all. Okay. He was just in it. Right. Anything you noticed there, Preston, other than what you put in the chat?
That was fire. I got nothing to add to that, but I will add something to what we talked about at the start of the call with like going in, not going into any appointment with an agenda, right? We don't write notes beside of who we think is going to buy. And there's something I'll share that I just heard this morning. Don't make it personal, make it mathematical, right? Book the number of appointments and you can go into each appointment not needing anything from that person. If you're working analog leads, 2% of people responded to direct mail or the postcard or whatever. 2%. Okay. So that's a very small percentage. And then we called them and a small percentage of them booked an appointment. And then a percentage of them showed up to the appointment. Why would we not approach every appointment just being very curious? Why are they here? We come from a place of curiosity to figure out how we can serve them, right? If they make it to the appointment, we shouldn't have any other belief that we're helping that family today. And we can go in with that mindset. We stop worrying about, well, I hope they buy. And we go in with curiosity and know that they're here for a reason. But Tyler, that was awesome, man.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. I mean, I've heard him run 1,000 appointments, but I mean, I was just looking for a transition, to options, and we went the whole enchilada, and I like it. I like it. This should be on repeat all the time, all the time. Couple keys here, and then we're gonna get out of here, and then I'm gonna hop over to the Be a Better Builder call. Know what direction you're going. Okay, I don't care what they want. I care what they need. Okay, who? This is good. Who? Whose thought process do we want to use? Because their thought process has them asking for help, not having coverage. My thought process protects families and delivers checks to grieving spouses. Widows, I guess, is the proper term. Whose thought process do we want to use? I think we should probably use mine. Okay, not theirs because it got them here. Okay, mine will get them there. Whose do we want to use? You've got to have confidence in that. If you know they're 67, I don't care how much they want a full payoff. You've got to master critical period. I'm telling you, I've seen Devin Johnson have he's sat down with people that had $1 million in a 401k and they had $1 million in life insurance and she was going to sell the house and he sold them a year of equity protection. Why? Because everybody knows that when you got $100 bill in your wallet, it can stay there for a long, long time. But as soon as you got 520s, that shit goes just like that. It's the same way with a 401k. It's the same way with a big life insurance sum. Why would we pay off a house if we think we're going to sell it? Why? For the market to collapse, the housing market to collapse again while you're trying to sell it, and all of a sudden you just like upside down, you just wasted a bunch of money? No. Okay? No. We're the professionals, and you got to have confidence in that. Tyler used a couple key phrases there. He was always saying we. It was not you, it was we. Whenever he was talking about what we were going to do, not what y'all should probably do, was what we normally do in this case, what we normally do. We. Beat that into your brain. Okay? It's we. You can't say it too early on the phones, but when you get in that appointment, we're trying to take ourselves from the opposite side of the kitchen table to sitting between them with our arm around them. You have to psychologically get there. Okay? It is a journey. Sometimes you think you're there, but you still ain't even got in the front door yet. Okay? Right, Tyler? It happens. Tyler got one the other day. He's like, I think we're going to go with the option where we don't get any insurance. It's like, all right, well, you motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sometimes you think you got him and you don't. That's right. He still made 4 grand this week. It's okay. All right. Don't make it personal, make it mathematical. That is check. Mama always told me, it's kind of like my mama always told me, you can say anything you want to after that. They will never call your mama a dumbass. They won't do it. They will agree with whatever you say, you know? Like you could say something like this, like my mom always told me, I ain't saying the earth is flat, but I ain't never seen a curve. That's all I'm saying, right? They're never gonna call you a conspiracy theorist, are they, Travis? No, no, I'm not a flat earther, by the way. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying they would still not combat you. They wouldn't look at you like, God, I think he's dumb. They wouldn't do it. They don't do it. A check is better than no check. Fire. And then there was another one that you said, but I forgot it whenever I made the really dumb flat earth joke there. So I don't know what it was. But I hope that you guys got something out of that. Know which direction that you're going, have confidence, know your shit. If you want to get to where Tyler is, you're probably about 200 sits away. 20 a week, 10 weeks, life could change. Make it happen. Make it shake. Get after it. We'll see you guys in the morning. Peace.